Good kids too, you know, for the most part. Generally, kids are good, whatever they make out. They got a scheme up at St John's, help out with the elderly and so on. They buddy up with old people, make sure they're all right and so on. Good kids, if they get a chance. Oh God, yes, lots of them help out at the farm, you know, for disabled people. So what have they got to look forward to? You know, dead-end job, if they can get a job. No money, no prospects. Not today. Not today there isn't. Doesn't matter how hard they work. Never going to get a place to live. Stay at home with their parents till they're 30, 40. Stay at home for the rest of their lives. Never had a chance. Not here. Place like this. Not here. Nothing to do with their spare time anyway. Can't go out after school. Oh my God, do you know how dangerous the roads are? How many can't let them out? So they stay in on their phones. Phones all night. Never know what they're up to, what they're looking at. Self-harm videos apparently, or worse. Like that girl. So no self-respect. It's up to the parents really to stop them looking at these things. You see kids, what, young as toddlers with mobile phones? How are they ever going to learn? Not with mobile phones stuck up to their ears. Up to the parents to take them away. You can get apps. Turns them off after a certain time. The phones, not the kids. Can't turn them off. Natural for kids. Run around, make a noise. Oh God, yes. Got to let off steam. Get out in the fresh air. Learn a bit. You know, get a few knocks. You ought to see how we went home. Grazed knees, blood all over. Our mother, where we fell off our bikes at the wreck. No sense of work. On the scrap heap before they've started. Can't afford to do anything. Rely on their parents for everything. Without a job. Get the parents to run them about everywhere in their cars. You hear that a lot. Or staying in playing computer games. What a choice. There is no choice. Parents are not getting any younger themselves. What happens when they get to retirement age? Are these kids going to be able to support them? No, they're not. So that's it. A generation wiped out. There's kids out there, hard working, looking after their parents. But when is that going to end? A lot of them, you know, volunteering. That's all there is for them. Interns, they call them. That just means working without wages, getting around the minimum wage, volunteering in animal sanctuaries and so on, or low-paid jobs, picking up litter, sorting out plastic. What sort of life is that to look forward to? And then any money they do make, they spend it all on I don't know what. God knows what kids spend their money on these days. Clothes, jewellery, computer games, drink. Can't blame them having a drink every now and then. Except it's not, is it? Not every now and again. Seems to be every night round here. They've got nothing else to do, so they just get drunk, cause a nuisance. You wonder what the parents are doing all this time. Come shouting down our road at God knows what hour. Moved all our flower pots the other week. Even picked up some trees in pots. Oh my God. I looked out in the morning, quite big ones. Just carried them up the road. Threw them into the road. Smashed the pots? Why do they do that? What makes somebody do all that? And that's not all. The graffiti you get up our way, all over the end wall, costs the council thousands to get rid. Horrible. Mindless. We had nice flowers and plants this year, all smashed up. No respect. No respect for other people's property. They're not taught that. No self-respect. Why would you do that? We were all taught to respect our elders. Who's going to teach them that now? And they were throwing things at the buses. Buses with people in, breaking all the windows. That's disgusting. Somebody's going to get hurt one day. They've already had to take some of the buses off on late night routes, not safe for the drivers.
Or the passengers, and they get on motorbikes up at the wreck, riding round and round on the grass.
Completely out of control. And you can't say anything, they wouldn't listen or call you names.
Or worse, it's disgusting up there at the wreck. The mess they make of the pavilion, all sorts of things up there. I don't want to think about it.
Police don't do anything. Even when you ring up, don't come out. We're meant to have, what, those kids dressed up as police?
They only look about 12 themselves, but you don't see them. They get these kids. What do they know about anything? How are they going to do anything if it comes to it? They're not going to come round out on their own, are they?
They're wild. Just let to run wild. A generation gone wild. Whose responsibility?
Makes you wonder what will happen to us. Who's going to look after us? Where are the carers going to come from?
I mean, we're all right at the moment, but where are we going to be when we need looking after?
They're not going to be fit looking after other people. What are they going to know? Wouldn't want them in my house. Wouldn't they respect it?
Oh my God, wouldn't want them trailing round my stuff, touching my stuff.
They'd be going through your house.
Using your toilet.
Kids today.
I blame the parents.
Thank you very much indeed. Any observations on?
Do you carry an dictaphone in your pocket for recording?
Well, we
Just
had
in
this
case.
conversation last time, and I said people tend to sort of clam up a bit if you actually put a microphone in there.
There's secret recording in your pocket.
So tried it. It doesn't carry. No, I mean the best I can do is to try and reconstruct at the end, and it is difficult, and it is difficult and different from an actual dialogue that you would write, because the point about that one is that I don't know if you realise the performance. They both had the same script, and they were that wasn't divided up into lines. They chose when they would take over the script, and which is what the buzzer is, and that's exactly what was happening on the bus. Was that those two women were riffing off the idea and just regurgitating headlines from the Daily Mail or the Echo. And what was interesting is they started off at one place and they riffed and they came at completely the opposite conclusion at the end of the bus journey. And I realised then that the conversation was not about the subject. The conversation is all about the status of the people having the thing. And you've got an idea, I've got an idea, you've got an idea. I will either add to it or I will contrast it, as we did with Tier 1, where people just didn't listen to each other. So that's a sort of a performance piece for the girls. It is a writing exercise for me, but for the girls, they actually, the direction I gave them is just when you get bored, press the buzzer, and that's how the thing is divided up. But I don't know. I think listening to conversation is really interesting and really worthwhile, and understanding that conversation is actually different from playwriting dialogue, I think. Would you agree with that, John? Or
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
and they're structured differently. But by getting conversation, by understanding conversation, you're sort of halfway to deconstructing how dialogue works in a play, and you realise that actually dialogue is almost dispensable. It's almost, you know, you can make noises at each other.
Well, Pinter,
That's tier 4.
Pinter developed the idea.
Absolutely.
He sat on buses and just listened to conversations.
Yeah.
And so a lot of his plays are quite similar to, you know, people are talking, you know, about different things, and you know, what they're saying to one another doesn't necessarily relate. They wander off, and you know, it's very similar. So he developed a kind of playwriting.
I think the one thing you can't, we haven't explored is the idea of silence within that, which Pinter did understand, and how you, what the mechanism of what's going on in your brain as you're thinking, how can I come into this conversation? What's my next move on this? You know, I'll go back to my shoes being in Basingstoke, or, you know, whatever. But anyway, it's a really fascinating subject. If you've ever got all you've got to do is sit in a cafe and drink coffee, and you know,
Yes.
there it is. It's all there. Oh, sorry. Yes, sir.
I think I can understand the story quite well, as me with the job of a taxi driver
Yeah.
who gets 20 different dialogues every day, or monologues, or even the silence, when you just get to inspect the people, looking in the mirror and try to see what they're thinking about, and it's just fascinating, yeah. And very often they try to include you in the conversation. Very often, by just listening, you find yourself to include yourself in that conversation, actually. And yeah, it's some people.
Yeah, to show you're the driver. I'm the driver. Let me in on this.
No, but it's fascinating, honestly. Sometimes you hear life stories. Sometimes people obviously are not aware that we foreign people speak few different languages, and we don't say that when they get into the camp. The funniest conversations are when I speak the language that they speak, but obviously I talk in English. So then they start chatting about different weird things, and then at the end of the journey I just say them goodbye in their language.
Excellent. That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good. But the only thing I would leave you with is just the idea that language as a whole is generally unstructured, and it's not about what the conversation is about. It's about the relationship of two people, and they will talk about anything, but it doesn't necessarily equate to what their actual their dynamic is. Anyway, there we are. Thank you to the girls.
We're going to have a session on silences.
I'll do it now if you like.
No, I thought we could set up a situation where there's a duologue going on, but
Yeah.
using silences at various points.
Yeah, shall we do that next time?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
We'll book you in for that.
tier 4, silence. Right.
I was going to say thank you for that, because that was really, really interesting, because usually when you're reading books and dialogue and whatnot, and you're writing dialogue, you have to, you know, there's so many like rules to it, and you have to really think about it when you put it in, but just showing that a natural conversation, just slightly stylised.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the thing with dialogues as writers, and I know we overcook it. We go too far to make sense. This has got to make sense. This idea has got to follow through the dialogue, and actually it doesn't in real life conversation. You know, throw sense out the window. Anyway, thank you very much indeed for your patience.